Okay, chapter 10. Let's get all these done. Okay, on 10. Oh, yeah, these aren't too bad. This changes to t-value, t-testing as opposed to z-testing. I already done t-testing in the other section. I just didn't mention it to you guys. I only pointed out the ones that were z-tests. Generally speaking, if you know something about a population, if you're studying a group that you think might have changed, but you know all the details about them, you can do a z-test. That is the perfectly normal, I know everything about what I'm doing, I'm looking for something that's changed lately test. Normally what you do is a t-test, which means I am not sure where I stand on this. I need a little extra space. The t-test was actually established by somebody who was doing actual experimentation, and well, we're stuck here. I'm actually reading that book. This is the book. The Lady Tasting Tea. It's about the beginning of statistics. I keep telling you guys I don't have the same kind of friends you do. So, but anyway, it's a good book. So, I'll get it back over here. But the chapter 10 does the t-testing, which means if I tell you that the average height is 5 feet 7 inches for women, and then I want to give myself some give or take and say that most everybody is between say 5'10" and 5'4", or 5'4" and 5'10", whatever. A t-test means I'm going to give myself extra room. I'm going to say everybody's between 6 foot, or most everybody's between 6 foot and 5'2" maybe. That is all a t-test is. A little extra space. The mechanics, the algebra, the math behind it is a little different, but the biggest thing is that it gives you a little extra space to make sure you're going to get the right answer somewhere in there. So it just makes your give and take a little bigger. That's the simplest explanation for a t-test. But the calculator issue is the same, except when I went to stats, over to tests, I go down to t-test. It asks me for some extra things, which they give me in the book because it is a textbook. This is not real life. It's a class. I did this with the calculator in only one instance. It asked for the interval, which would require, if you look through the textbook, some math and some algebra. I didn't. I plugged it straight in this calculator. I asked for a t interval. It gave it to me. A low end and a high end. Like on number 9, it gave me 124.67, and the high end was 135.33. The margin of error, we did that on the first test, maybe the second test, maybe even the third one too. The margin of error is just half the distance between those two ends. I subtracted them and I divided that by 2. My margin of error is 5.33. Then I did look up the critical T because I don't even want to think about figuring that out. And it's a chart on 339. All you have to do is look up your alpha or your confidence level, 95%. Read across to there. Most all these were two-tailed tests. I actually think I treated them all as two-tailed tests. And then I wrote down the critical T. And then I just worked my way through these. I did all of 10.1. However, I only did one problem from 10.2 and one problem from 10.3 because those two-way tables are pretty easy. We did those way back. But when you want to talk about test of fit, and I don't even remember what this was called now. F-tests. Oh, these are chi-squared, which is still goodness of fit and stuff. I mean, that's some complicated things. That's one of those things where I generally have to study the night before we talk about it if I have people who really want it. I did one. I did one from 10.2. I did one from 10.3, which is the ANOVA, which is a lot easier to deal with, but it's still a pretty big chart, and the background to it is a little different. I did one of each. They're probably both on the test in their entirety. So there you go. That is the only one I'm doing for chapter 10. That gets us through the class. I'm going to tiptoe through the test and make a 10-question exam and post it with it won't open up till the week of exams. Actually, it might open up early. I'll think about that, but I'll get it done. And then we'll be done with this class. You just need to make sure you get everything turned in, either emailed to me or turned into, it's not Google Classroom. What do we do? We do Canvas, so that I can start grading. And if I've not graded it, you can pester me, but it's probably going to take me a little bit.